I kind of assimilate with the table. a
Oh,
little
with the
bit.
table. Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the DSS Stories podcast. My name is Ivánna, and I'm very happy to have here two wonderful storytellers from the DSS project and my co-host Irene together with me to learn more about the aspirations and inspirations. We are going to discuss your journey so far and hopefully learn what you're planning to do in the future. But before we do all of that, let's just have a little round of introduction. If you could tell me your names, where you come from, and also what you studied. Who wants to start?
I think I can start. Thank you very much, Ivana. My name is Jean Leon Gabo. I'm from Rwanda, a country of 1,000 hills. I hold a master's in geoinformation science and Earth observation with a specialization in water resource and environmental management. And I'm here at the DSS.
That's such a beautiful way to introduce the country. A country of the 1,000 hills. Now I want to
Indeed.
visit.
Good call for your tourism of the country.
Of course.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, my name is Bernice and I'm from Nigeria. Niger people are the hello. That's the way we greet each other. At the hello, it's like I'm saying hello. And I have a background in clinical healthcare. I did a bachelor's in physical therapy, and then I did a master's program in public health, and then here I am at DSS.
So could we ask you for a little shoulder rub when we're at the office? Is that allowed?
Let's not abuse our trainees, okay?
Not just me, I'm sick. I mean, I didn't know that. This is great. I love hearing these things.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, yes, I'm Irene and I'm from Spain, but I've been living in the Netherlands now for about 20 years. So at this rate, I don't really know what I am. I'm too Spanish for the Dutch, too Dutch for the Spanish. So I just live in my own time zone at this rate. And my background is in anthropology and sociology for my bachelor's, and I did a master's in philosophy of education.
Cool.
Very academic, yeah.
But also, I love how diverse all these backgrounds are, and would also really be curious to hear what drove you to become what you are right now, where you imagined yourself being when you were a kid. So if you could share that, we would just move from there.
Well, I think it's completely what I haven't imagined to become. Because when I was a kid, I used to play football. So I even played football on a professional level. And that's something I wanted to do. So, of course, when you're a kid, and I was a striker, I was always scoring goals. And then, of course, the fans around, they're screaming your name, they're shouting on you. So it gives you
That's
amazing.
a high.
Exactly. And you're like, wow, I want to become a football player. But of course, they're your parents that are looking after you. So most of the time they were like, no, this is not good for you. You should become, you should go to study, you should be a doctor, you should hold a master's, because they believe that is what is good for you. So then, of course, at some point you're like, yeah. Of course, also on the income level, what you get from football is not enough, I would say, back home. So you also have to think, okay, I should maybe also respect my parents and maybe try to do what they want. Of course, I was also good in school. So then I was like, yeah, let me pursue my academic career. And then, of course, I had to do my bachelor back home and my master's in the Netherlands. And then, my career changed. And then now I'm doing, I'm at the DSS. And of course, I want to keep learning, keep improving myself, and I like what I'm doing now.
What drove you to choose the geoinformatics?
Geoinformation science, GIS.
Score.
Yeah.
What made you choose it?
I have a specialization in water resource and environmental management. I wanted a better way to monitor, to manage resources and environment. That includes more technology. So there was, of course, you need data to manage the water resource and environment. So if you combine it with because with GIS you deal GIS and remote sensing, you deal more with satellite information. So it's like a technological way that you can use to monitor water resource and environment. So I wanted that thing. I wanted a better way, an effective way you can manage water resource. So
and
then,
to contribute to a better world in the end.
indeed.
Have you
Yeah.
always been such a logical person? Because I am hearing you talk and you're like super calm and you're like, and then I wanted this, and then I did have a dream, but then my parents, and then I want to, and I feel like this calmness and this logic. Like, have you always been like that? I really wonder how you were when you were a kid.
Well, I think when you grow up, you try to change to calm more calm. But when I was kid, of course, I was crazy and so
He was
on,
a
but
striker. Come on.
and,
Imagine, yeah, how come could that be?
I think, yeah, maybe with growing up and
Yeah.
sometimes you
Adulthood.
change and you adopt.
I don't know. I am still pure chaos. I wouldn't know.
But can you two recognize yourself a little bit in Jean's story? Like you have the external motivations, the external factors that come into play. There are your desires. So your path kind of is influenced by many things at the same time.
Yeah, I do recognize myself in his story. And at this point, I felt like, oh, I think I should really speak up for our parents. And by this, I mean African parents. We forgive them. We understand that if they knew better, they would do better. For example, because of the level of income, I think survival was really quite important in the years back. And so people are really thinking about what can I do that can earn me sufficient income, So for that reason, people tended a lot towards the professions that seem to be the most popular, the most sought after. But for me, it was that way, but a bit different in the sense that I didn't want to be a doctor because I felt everyone was going there, and I'm not naturally the person that likes to do what everyone else loves to do.
I know how that feels.
Yeah, so, but I noticed that while growing up, I was very drawn to people I find on wheelchairs. As a child, I always wondered, why can't they walk? Why is somebody pushing them? And so I always had this desire in my heart to do something about it. And so when we got to the point of discussing with my mom about what to study, I said I didn't want to do medicine. She said, okay, but how about physiotherapy? That was the first time I heard about it. And she said, oh, you can actually help those kind of people. And I said, if that's it, I want to do it. So I got into it. And then at a point while working in Nigeria, I lost my job. And then I began to volunteer in a refugee camp where we had women and girls who were escaping from terrorist attacks in some other part of the country. And I got to use my skills there. But then I realized that healthcare is not just about service delivery. There is the political aspect of it. There is policies. There's so many things involved. And I started asking questions like, I don't want to sit behind, I didn't want to sit at the clinical desk anymore. It's like I'm on the receiving end. I wanted to take an offensive position where I don't want to wait for problems to happen so I can treat, but I want to prevent. And that's how I came into public health. So that's how my journey has been. And how it brought me to DSS is that we realized that technology is the future, whether we like it or not. And even in the public health sphere, we are really beginning to look at how we can use technology, not just teleconferencing, but for example, COVID, we saw that people began to develop apps to monitor health, progress for people. So we really began to see how useful and important technology is. So I asked myself, in what way can I pick up this skill and stay relevant for the future? And DSS, with open arms, accepted me. So
you will hopefully also
Here I am.
elevate your field a little bit with this.
Definitely, it applies on a very wide scale, and particularly because DSS emphasizes the Scrum method, where you use the Agile Scrum methodology in addition to innovation. And for me, in my profession as a public health professional, I have worked in project management, project support, and agile methodology is really one of the in-demand skills right now. So if there's somebody out there who is thinking, okay, I want to learn this skill and I want to put it to practice, because here at DSS we learn by doing, then this is really the kind of environment that gives you that experience, like the whole spectrum of everything.
That's a hot sell for us.
Yeah,
The
that's
highs,
so well.
the highs and the lows.
And
Yeah.
I think that's such a beautiful story. And I would love to continue talking about it, but we are running out of time. So as a final note, I would like to maybe get just a bit of inspiration from you of how you are going to move forward. I heard a little bit from Bernice, but I would also love to learn how you envision yourself in the future from after DSS.
Indeed. Well, I really like to help people to come up with something that many people could benefit from. So with DSS, of course, you try to combine digital technology, same with the user research, and then also with design thinking. So you come up with something that helps. Of course, we are working project with companies and so on. Of course, many companies are benefiting from what we come up with. But also, if we go outside here, now we are designing for people. We are designing for the society. So with the skills and the knowledge that I believe I will get from DSS, I'm going to use it now for people, for the society.
This warms my heart. Like I'm almost melting over here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Makes
So
me feel so good.
yeah, exactly. And I hope that you take this inspiration and you will also kind of make it contagious around yourself. So also in your environment, you can bring this change for others and inspire them to change, bring the change further. So exactly, it starts with us, right?
Yes.
So
So brand. I love it.
so thank you so much for this podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.